Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Bold and beautiful today. Grace's panic, Luna triggered, and Sheila's dangerous rescue. At Steffi Forrester Finnegan, Luna Nozawa is still brandishing a gun. Sheila Carter Sharp is attempting to stop her murderous granddaughter in the meantime. I hope Logan's support. Liam Spencer is urged to concentrate on himself by Hope Logan. He's massaging his brow. Hope advises him to stop worrying about Luna and instead take some time to relax. When Ridge Forrester enters, he only hears Luna's name. Ridge is determined to find out what's new with Luna. Nothing has changed, they are still concerned about Luna's whereabouts. Nozawa Luna set off. Luna lashes out at Steffi for preventing her from seeing John Finnegan. She then discusses Hayes Forrester Finnegan, her half-brother. Steffi advises her not to mention her son's name ever again. Luna says, Hayes, with defiance. What happened to Ms. Dillon? I'm a little tied up, Luna admits. All Luna wants is to be taken seriously. Just put down the gun, Steffi says she's listening. Luna begins to complain about never having a father's love, and suddenly the one opportunity she has. There's a loud thump. What was that noise, wonders Steffi. Luna claims that it's Ms. Dillon, but she's alright. Let me now spend time with my dad. Luna continues to rage about her early years while wildly brandishing the gun. Steffi is becoming rather anxious and flinching. She is accused by Luna of dominating both her and Finn. It must end. Steffi refuses to embrace her and tries to say anything to get out of there. Steffi ought to have told her what she wanted to hear by lying. The perilous rescue of Sheila Carter Sharp. Sheila makes an effort to clarify why she urged Luna to move out of town. Saying farewell was difficult. Sheila and Luna are very similar in all the wrong ways, according to Taylor Hayes. Oh, Taylor, stop being so arrogant. As like you are superior. Sheila worries about Luna's remarks. She is accused by Taylor of plotting and attempting to stir up trouble. The grandmother is told to lead by the brunette. Sheila claims that Steffi may be in danger because Luna still has her sights set on her. According to Taylor, the waitress is unrelated to it. Sheila wants to assist and wants to know where Steffi is. Taylor continues to refuse. In the end, Taylor consents, but only provided Sheila departs immediately thereafter. There's a booming noise all of a sudden. When Sheila returns from caring for Hayes, Taylor requests that she leave. Sheila takes up an origami animal she sees. She thinks of Luna's origami creations. The repentant villain sees the origami death threat and quickly collects her pocketbook to leave. The origami narrative by Remy Price then comes to mind for Sheila. Taylor enters the living room after seeing how Hayes is doing. Taylor adds, "It better not be Sheila," as the door opens. It's Ridge, not that. Why was she speaking Sheila's name, he asks. The panic of Grace Buckingham. Finn mentions Grace Buckingham's ex-husband in the hospital. Steffi informed him of the illicit scheme and addiction. Grace is making an effort to put that behind her. She maintains that her thoughts are solely focused on Liam. Liam already understands his options, according to Finn. Grace begins to panic and yells that he is running out of time. Lee Finnegan comes in at that moment. Grace hastily tries to gather herself when she turns around. Lee brings up Luna while Finn covers. Grace mentions that Finn has been difficult to locate recently. According to Grace, Finn is now dealing with a number of complex cases. Lee volunteers to assist. Finn declines courteously. Grace leaves the two doctors alone and excuses herself. Lee informs Finn that Luna visits him every few months to inquire about his progress in accepting his daughter. That won't ever happen, the younger doctor says. Sheila has called once more. Although he saw Steffi's voicemail, Finn declined. Sheila yells at Luna to put down the gun as she storms through the door of the art school. Since she is doing this for the US, she declines. Sheila is being viewed as the adversary by Steffi, who is appalled. Sheila maintains her composure while gently glancing at the rifle Luna is holding. The air in the abandoned art school studio hung thick with the acrid scent of dust, turpentine ghosts, and pure, unadulterated terror. Luna Nozawa, a wraith in designer silk now stained and torn, stood trembling, the cold, unforgiving weight of the gun a grotesque extension of her shaking hand, its barrel unwaveringly fixed on Steffi Forrester Finnegan. Steffi, pressed against a splintered easel, radiated a fierce, frozen calm, her eyes locked on Luna's dilated pupils, searching for any flicker of reason beneath the maelstrom of grief and Spencer-fueled rage. Luna's words were a jagged torrent, spraying across the cavernous space. "You keep him from me. Finn. My father. You poisoned him against me, just like you poison everything. And Hayes, my brother." The name ignited Steffi's primal fury. "Don't you dare say his name," she snarled, her voice low and dangerous. Luna flinched but doubled down, her voice rising to a shriek. "Hayes? Where is he? With Ms. Dillon? Tied up? Safe? Unlike my mother." A manic laugh escaped her. "She's a bit tied up too, thanks to you." The implication hung, vile and threatening. Steffi's knuckles whitened, but she forced her voice level, a lifeline thrown into a hurricane. "Luna, I hear you. Put the gun down. Let's talk. Just put it down." But Luna was adrift on a sea of inherited trauma, waves of self-pity and accusation crashing over her. "Talk? You never listened. Never cared. No dad, no love, just scraps. And the one chance I had, the one person who shares my blood, you stole him." Her voice cracked, raw with decades of perceived abandonment. The gun waved erratically, tracing dangerous arcs in the air. Steffi winced, her nerves fraying as the muzzle danced perilously close. "You control him. You control everything. Finn, Forrester Creations, me. It has to stop." Steffi's mind raced, every instinct screaming to say anything, to lie, to promise the moon if it meant survival. "Luna, please, we can." A sudden, heavy thump echoed from a back room, cutting her off. Steffi's eyes darted towards the sound. What was that? Luna's gaze flickered with a flicker of something. Fear? Guilt? Before hardening. "Ms. Dillon. She's fine." Annoying. Now, Luna snapped the focus back, desperation sharpening her tone. "Let me be with my father. Let me have what's mine." Miles away, in the sterile calm of the hospital corridor, Hope Logan's voice was a gentle counterpoint to the storm brewing elsewhere. She watched Liam Spencer rub his temples, the lines of worry etched deep. "Liam, you need to rest," she urged, placing a tentative hand on his arm. "Stressing over Luna, it won't help anyone, especially not you. The police are looking. Finn and Steffi are dealing with it. Focus on healing." Liam sighed, the weight of the world seeming to bow his shoulders. "I just feel useless, Hope. Luna's out there, unhinged, and Steffi." Before he could finish, Ridge Forrester rounded the corner, his presence instantly commanding the space. He caught only the tail end. "Luna." His gaze, sharp and demanding, locked onto them. "What's new? What have you heard?" Hope exchanged a worried glance with Liam. "Nothing concrete, Ridge," Liam admitted heavily. "Just, she's still out there. Armed. That's the worry." Ridge's jaw tightened, a familiar storm brewing in his eyes. "Damn it. That girl is a powder keg." Back at the Cliff House, a different kind of tension crackled. Sheila Carter Sharp, her face etched with genuine, uncharacteristic anxiety, paced the living room. "I told her to leave town," she insisted to Taylor Hayes, who watched her with icy disdain from the doorway. After Bill's manipulation, it was the only safe choice. Saying goodbye, it was hard. Taylor's laugh was a short, brittle sound. "Hard? For you? Or for her? You encouraged her, just like you encourage chaos. Look at her now, waving a gun at my daughter. The apple doesn't fall far, does it, Sheila? Luna's just like you in all the worst ways." Sheila whirled, a flash of her old defiance surfacing. "Get off your high horse, Taylor. As if your hands are clean. At least I'm trying to help now." Taylor's eyes narrowed. Help? This is just another scheme. Another way to cause trouble, to worm your way back in. Get out. Now. Sheila stepped closer, her voice dropping to an urgent whisper. Taylor, listen to me. Luna said things. Threatening things about Steffi. About Hayes. She's spiraling, she has a gun. Steffi could be in real danger right now. Taylor waved a dismissive hand, though a flicker of unease crossed her features. Steffi can handle herself. And your granddaughter's meltdown has nothing to do with me, or with that waitress you're so concerned about. Sheila's desperation peaked. Where is Steffi? Tell me. Maybe I can reach Luna, talk her down. I know that kind of pain, that rage. Taylor hesitated, the primal fear for her daughter warring with her visceral hatred for Sheila. Finally, through gritted teeth, she relented. She's checking on a potential lead at the old art school annex downtown. But you go near her, you breathe near her, and you deal with me and Ridge. Now get out. And if you ever come back here. Before she could finish her threat, a loud crash came from the nursery. Taylor's head snapped towards the sound. Hayes. Stay here, she ordered Sheila, though it was unnecessary. I mean it. Be gone when I get back. She hurried down the hall. Alone, Sheila's gaze swept the room, landing on the coffee table. Amongst Hayes's scattered toys lay a meticulously folded origami swan. Luna's signature craft. Sheila picked it up, the delicate paper feeling heavy in her hand. Memories flooded back, Luna's quiet intensity as she folded, the intricate animals she'd leave around the office, a fragile beauty masking inner turmoil. Then, another memory surfaced, dark and chilling, Remy Price. The origami death threats he'd received before his murder. Folded with the same precise, almost obsessive, technique. A cold dread slithered down Sheila's spine. This wasn't just a tantrum, this was a mind fracturing under pressure, echoing her own darkest paths. She grabbed her purse, resolved. As she turned to leave, Ridge Forrester walked through the front door. He took in Sheila's presence, Taylor's absence, and the tension hanging in the air. Taylor, he called out. Then, hearing his wife's voice faintly from the nursery, his eyes snapped to Sheila. Why were you saying Sheila's name? He demanded, his voice dangerously low. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Grace Buckingham's composure was unraveling faster than a cheap sweater. Finn Finnegan, reviewing Liam's chart, glanced up at her. Steffi mentioned your ex-husband's history, Grace. The addiction, the criminal schemes. Tough past to move on from. Grace flinched, forcing a tight smile. Ancient history, Finn. Water under the bridge. Right now, Liam is my only concern. Finn nodded, his expression professionally neutral. He knows his options. We've discussed the risks and benefits of each procedure extensively. Grace's hand tightened on the edge of the counter. But he's running out of time, she blurted, her voice laced with a panic that seemed disproportionate. The window for the most effective intervention. She cut herself off abruptly as the door swung open and Lee Finnegan entered. Grace spun around, hastily wiping her eyes and plastering on a strained smile. Lee. We were just discussing Liam Spencer's case. Finn smoothly covered the awkward moment. Grace is understandably concerned. We're reviewing everything. Lee, perceptive as ever, raised an eyebrow but addressed Finn. I heard Luna's name mentioned outside. Any news? Finn shook his head grimly. Nothing solid. Just heightened alert. Grace seized the diversion. Finn has been incredibly busy, she interjected, her voice overly bright. So many complex cases demanding his attention. Lee offered a thin smile. Indeed. Well, if you need an extra pair of hands, Finn, don't hesitate. Finn politely declined. We're managing, thank you, Mother. Grace mumbled an excuse about checking on Liam and practically fled the room, leaving mother and son in a heavy silence. Lee watched her go, then turned back to Finn. Every few months, it seems, Luna surfaces. asking if you're any closer to accepting her as your daughter. Finn's expression hardened. That will never happen, Mother. You know that. Lee nodded slowly, her gaze understanding but firm. Just then, Finn's phone buzzed, Sheila again. He declined the call, but noticed a new voicemail notification, Steffi. His heart lurched. He pressed play, his face paling as he heard Steffi's tense, whispered message about being cornered at the art school. Mother, I have to go, he said, already moving towards the door, the hospital drama forgotten. Steffi was in danger. Back at the art school, the standoff reached its fever pitch. Luna's rant had descended into fragmented sobs about childhood neglect, her gun hand trembling violently. You took everything, just like they took everything from me. Steffi saw the wildness in her eyes, the utter lack of control over the weapon. She's going to fire accidentally. The thought was ice in Steffi's veins. Suddenly, the main door burst open. Sheila stood there, silhouetted against the dim hallway light, her chest heaving. Luna. No. Put the gun down, she commanded, her voice cutting through the hysteria with surprising authority. Luna whirled, the gun swinging wildly towards the new threat before snapping back to Steffi. You, she screamed at Sheila. Stay out of this. I'm doing this for us. For our family. Steffi stared, horrified. Sheila, the architect of so much of her own pain, was the last person she wanted as a savior. Sheila ignored Steffi's expression, her focus entirely on Luna. She moved slowly, deliberately into the room, her hands held palm out in a placating gesture. Luna, sweetheart, this isn't the way, she said, her voice surprisingly gentle, a stark contrast to her usual rasp. Put it down. Talk to me. Please. Her eyes, however, never left the gun in Luna's hand, assessing the tremor, the grip, the lethal potential trembling mere feet from Steffi's heart. Sheila's own heart hammered against her ribs. This wasn't strategy, this was a desperate, dangerous gamble to disarm a bomb she felt partially responsible for creating. One wrong move, one sudden noise, and the fragile thread holding back catastrophe would snap. The air vibrated with the silent scream of Luna's finger resting on the trigger, Sheila's calculated calm, and Steffi's frozen terror, while miles away, Grace Buckingham's panicked lie echoed in an empty hospital corridor, and Ridge Forrester demanded answers in a living room haunted by an origami swan and the specter of violence his fractured family could never seem to escape. The tapestry was woven, each thread, Luna's inherited rage, Sheila's risky redemption, Taylor's brittle pride, Ridge's protective fury, Grace's hidden panic, Finn's desperate race, pulled taut, waiting for the inevitable, devastating snap. Steffi has gone too far in her obsession with her parents. The reason for Steffi Forrester's apparent obsession with her parents, Ridge Forrester and Taylor Hayes, is this. Steffi has gone too far in her obsession with her parents. She has actually been determined to ensure that they remain together in one form or another. Additionally, Steffi is behaving as though their engagement is the greatest thing ever since Taylor proposed to Ridge. Even though her mom's engagement diamond is the same one she has previously worn, she couldn't help but swoon over it during the most recent episode of The Bold and the Beautiful. Even if we tried, we couldn't make this stuff up. Many people are now wondering what Steffi's problem might be and why she is so fervent about keeping her parents together, for better or worse. Of course, there was a lot to say about the issue on the internet. For better or worse, Steffi wants Ridge and Taylor together. Even remarks like "Why is Steffi so interested in her parents' life?" were left by some show viewers. Like a girl. Nobody wants to hear about their parents doing that at all. Steffi has always been obsessed with her parents' sex life, a different follower commented. It has been going on for a while, especially in the past several years. What's worse is Steffi is far from an anomaly about having zero boundaries about her parents' sex life, was another comment. The air in the dimly lit alley behind Il Giardino, usually thick with the scent of overflowing dumpsters and stale beer, now reeked of cordite, fear, and the coppery tang of fresh blood. Steffi Forrester Finn pressed her back against the cold, grimy brick wall, her chest heaving, every nerve ending screaming. The frantic chase, a blur of panic and adrenaline fueled by the chilling certainty that Sheila Carter had finally snapped, had ended here, in this dead-end trap. The man Sheila had been screaming at, a shadowy figure Steffi barely registered, some minor player in Sheila's latest delusional vendetta, lay groaning on the asphalt, disarmed but not the immediate threat. The real threat radiated from Sheila herself, standing 10 feet away, silhouetted against the sickly yellow glow of a distant security light. Her eyes, those unnervingly dark pits that had haunted Steffi's nightmares since childhood, weren't focused on Steffi with their usual predatory calculation or manic obsession. Instead, they burned with a terrifying, unfiltered rage directed solely at the man on the ground, a rage that seemed to consume her entirely, making her oblivious to everything else, including Steffi's presence. Her hand, steady as a surgeon's despite the chaos, held a snub-nosed revolver, its barrel unwavering, aimed point-blank at the prone figure. "You think you can threaten me?" Sheila's voice was a guttural snarl, devoid of its usual manipulative purr, stripped down to raw, feral fury. "You think you can take what's mine? After everything I've done? After everything I've sacrificed?" Her finger tightened visibly on the trigger. Execution was imminent.